Hi guys, it's Bunnymon and welcome to today's video and welcome to another WWE reaction. This video was recommended by Undisputed and he said you should watch how Dolph Ziggler almost became a main eventer. I think Dolph Ziggler is like really German name. Like, I don't know if this wrestler is German, but let me know in the chat. Not one of the greatest wrestlers, but he should have been one of the greatest. Oh, I mean, I still know about him. It's by Super Kick Studios, so let's go and watch the video, shall we? April 8, 2013. A new champion.
I've seen Dolph do great things in the past. This was his greatest
Let me
time.
raise the volume
This
drastically.
is what I love, but you know what? Sometimes things you love don't always love you back.
True. A career of almost. Aww.
Dolph Ziggler has been in the WWE for nearly 20 years, and in that time frame, he's been somewhat of a utility knife for the company, slotting in wherever they need him to. However, his career is defined by one word, and that's almost. Seems like every time he would do something of note, every time he was in a big storyline, or anytime he was ready to make that next step into the upper echelon of WWE superstars, his momentum would be pulled from underneath him, or the company would hesitate to do anything of substance with him. I think a majority of wrestling fans would agree that Dolph Ziggler is one of those guys who's always showed up and put his best foot forward. He's one of the greatest sellers in the company's history, and as time has worn on, he's developed an ability on the mic that allows for his passion for pro wrestling to come to the forefront. He loves this, but as you'll see in this video, this hasn't always loved him back. Ziggler was signed to WWE Developmental in 2004 after the company saw him wrestle in college. He had been into wrestling since a very young age. In high school, he set the record for most pins held, and when he got to Kent State University, the record for most career wins. Went to OVW for a bit and then made his debut in September of 2005 as Chavo Guerrero's personal caddy. Guerrero was going under the character of Kerwin White. Unfortunately, though, Eddie Guerrero passed away that same year and the character was dropped. Dolph Ziggler, being part of the act, was also scrapped and sent back to OVW, but he'd make his way back pretty quick. In 2006, he re-debuted as part of the Spirit Squad, where he went under the name of Nikki. The Spirit Squad was a group of male cheerleaders designed for comic relief. They were jobbers and very much so treated like that on WWE TV, though the group did get main event exposure when they shared the ring with DX, but it was over before we knew it, and Ziggler was right back where he started in developmental.
Oh my God,
as time passed and OVW turned into FCW, he refined everything about himself and made his re-debut in 2008 as Dolph Ziggler, a bleach blonde, overconfident, cocky yet charismatic stud who could also back things up in the ring. Early on, he was in mid-card rivalries that weren't anything of note, but he did get TV time on a consistent basis, so it wouldn't be far-fetched to say that management did have plans for him. The same management that through the years would turn things messy for him, let's just say. In his early days, we got signs of something that would plague him throughout his career, and that's stop and start pushes. He feuded with Rey Mysterio and John Morrison, failing to win the Intercontinental Championship, but a turning point came for him in 2010 when he was paired up with Vicky Guerrero, who was his on-screen girlfriend. He won the Intercontinental Championship and continued to feud with Kofi for a majority of the year. In early 2011, he was in a rivalry with Edge for the World Heavyweight Championship, where even though he lost the match at the Royal Rumble, he was awarded the world title when Edge was DQ'd for using the spear. So at this point, you could see that there was clearly something that the company saw in him. Otherwise, why would they put his name in the history books, even if it was just for a brief time? He lost the title the same night back to Edge, a step in the right direction for sure, but the feud with him didn't really go anywhere after that. Ziggler and Vicky on screen were moved to Raw after it had come out that Vicky and Dolph attacked Teddy Long. Keep in mind, we were only 4-ish years into his main roster run by this point. When he went to Raw, he won the US title, held it for 182 days in a reign, which wasn't anything memorable. He dropped it to Zack Ryder at the end of 2011 before moving into a rivalry with CM Punk. Punk was in the early days of his 434-day championship reign. Ziggler did pin him once during the rivalry, but he didn't go on to win the big one. However, fast forward to July of 2012, and Ziggler became Mr. Money in the Bank, earning himself a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship.
This is literally the one I know about him.
And there it was.
Like him with Money in the Bank.
The chance to propel him into that next level, win a world title, have a reign with it, and then see where he goes from there. During his time as Mr. Money in the Bank, he feuded with Chris Jericho, basically telling him that he lost his touch, had a rivalry with Randy Orton and John Cena, who, as you guys guys know, are two of the biggest stars in the company's history. So as you can see, he was allowed to mix things up with the top stars in the company. He was right there with them, and by virtue of Vicky Guerrero, and instead had AJ as his love interest.
Oh my God,
WWE
no
even
way.
gave him Big E as a heavy, so it
AJ
looked like
was
they were
with
positioning him
him
for success, and
before ending
success
up with CM
after the
Punk.
cash-in as well. That brought us to the Raw after WrestleMania 29. Ziggler cashed in the Money in the Bank in one of the most popular cash-ins ever. The crowd was electric because, of course, it's the Raw after Mania. Cashed in on Del Rio, and there he was, the brand new World Heavyweight Champion. But as quickly as that moment came, he suffered a huge roadblock, a concussion that put him out of action for about a month. Ziggler got kicked in the head by Jack Swagger when he was going to pick up a ladder, resulting in him losing memory for 2 days. He came back after a month, and even though the audience was still on his side, upper brass didn't seem to agree. After returning to action, Ziggler lost the title in his first defense to Alberto Del Rio, and he never won a world title again. That's it. At Payback 2013, they even did a double turn with Ziggler turning face, and this didn't really go anywhere. The rest of the year on screen, he lost his girl, he lost his heavy, and sadly, he lost his push, relegated right back to the mid-card. WWE didn't even give the guy a chance. They saw that he was injury-prone, and they didn't even give him a successful pay-per-view defense to see if he could actually make some noise. They put an end to things before they could even start, and let's not act like the World Heavyweight Championship scene was anything special at the time. Ziggler could have for sure held it. Anyways, he spent the rest of the year in the mid-card, failing to win the US and Intercontinental Championship. Come year's end, forget main event matches, he wasn't even on the main card. He was losing to Fandango on the pre-show of TLC, where 1 year previous at that same event, he was wrestling the company's golden boy. Continually falling down the pecking order, not a priority to the company by any means, and it looked like it was all but over. However, a moment presented itself. Opportunity came knocking, and it came at the end of 2014 when Ziggler was part of Team Cena at Survivor Series. See, the company had been running a storyline where John Cena and anyone who dared to align with him would get unfairly treated by the bosses. Cena assembled his team to take down the Authority, and it was Ziggler who didn't play much of a role going into the match, but when we got to Survivor Series, it became the breakout performance of a lifetime for him. Everyone was eliminated for Team Cena except for Dolph Ziggler, who overcame a 3-on-1 deficit in a star-making performance. From his selling to his ability to make you buy into the match, he had proven that he could get fans invested with his work. Even though the large talking point on that night was Sting's WWE debut, Ziggler had risen up once again. Now, that was actually supposed to be Roman Reigns in Ziggler's spot, but he was injured. Dolph was obviously primed to do something and be a key player in the Authority story moving forward, but the story they instead told was Triple H and Stephanie coming back into power and the company kayfabe firing him, and yeah, that's literally about it. No relaunch, no big pay-per-view main event spot. He did win the Intercontinental Championship though and hold it for a small amount of time, but headed into WrestleMania 31, he was just another guy again. It's pretty unbelievable that they had it right there and they did nothing with the guy. It's also important to remember that this is a point in WWE's history where the company was fixated with pushing Roman Reigns and nothing else mattered. Maybe Ziggler's big performance and his return at the same time is what caused that. I don't exactly know. Throughout 2015, Ziggler was toiling around in random matches, eventually getting involved in a feud with Rusev and Summer Rae in the summer, which wasn't very good. What ended up happening was WWE got pissed that Lana and Rusev, who had actually been dating in real life, revealed that they were engaged, so the storyline ended up being dropped. Earlier in the year, he was in a Kiss Me Arse match against Sheamus. I swear this guy actually might be the most unlucky WWE wrestler ever. Anytime things looked up for the guy, nothing. From here, he quite literally did nothing until 2016 when the brand split happened. Ziggler was quickly given an opportunity to be in a prominent storyline when he became the #1 contender to the WWE Championship. This wasn't some hot storyline with a ton of fan investment, but a fresh challenger. Someone fans wanted to see in that position. No one really thought that he was going to win, but as always, he did his best to make people buy in. He lost at SummerSlam, and this loss was used in storyline where Miz targeted Ziggler for always coming up short. The two had an Intercontinental Championship match at Backlash 2016, which Ziggler lost after interference from Maurice. Dolph wanted another title shot, but Miz refused, which led to Ziggler cutting a very passionate promo in which he put his career on the line. The storytelling and drama of that match being its key strength. The two doing a really good job at building the tension and engaging the crowd. A crowd that was fully behind Dolph Ziggler. He won that night, and for what, the third time, it seemed like there was another resurrection in Dolph Ziggler's career. Can you guess what happened?
Nothing.
Yup. Literally nothing. He had proved that maybe he wasn't damaged
No
goods.
way!
He dropped it back to the Miz on SmackDown after just
Why would
37
they
days.
do this to this
The company
guy?
didn't give him a prolonged run. They didn't use it to propel him into a different role. They didn't
It's like,
let him run with it and showcase his in-ring talent. He's gone on record to say that he actually wanted to lose the match at Backlash so he could take some time away. However, as the title suggests, almost. In an alternate universe, he goes on a Seth Rollins-like IC Championship run, but that didn't happen for him. At this point, multiple opportunities to have him be something more. The thing with him was that the fan support was always there. His heart was always in it, and he could play whatever role you needed him to. Like the next year, when he started to blame the fans for not respecting him as much as he deserved. So his reaction to that was, okay, let me give them what they want. And he'd come out impersonating other WWE wrestlers, from John Cena to The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels.
I don't think
the
that
impersonations
works.
weren't received well, with many calling them some of the worst segments of the year. Don't think I'm telling you any tales by letting you know how much his career had stagnated up until this point. Lost, confused, a star that could have been. In that same year, he won the US Championship at Clash of Champions, and then the following SmackDown vacated it, telling the crowd that here is something to remember me by, teasing to leave the WWE. This was done to try to reboot his character, but it didn't. He returned at Royal Rumble 2018, and there was a lot of talk that he might actually win it. If they wanted to repackage him, they should have done something different when he came back. He had the same entrance, the same ring gear. It was just the same Dolph Ziggler. In 2018, though, he did have high points, however. With Brock Lesnar in retreat with the Universal Championship, Raw needed something to carry it, and that was Seth Rollins and Dolph Ziggler. When Drew McIntyre arrived on the scene, the two became a focal point on Raw. It was that Shawn Michaels and Diesel dynamic. Eventually, after winning the tag titles, they had a rivalry which surprisingly had no big blow-off, no big pay-per-view match. So you look at things and you go, okay, maybe something happens once, coincidence. Maybe twice, okay, unlucky. 3 times, okay, maybe they had other plans. A tag team, and a big tag team, to have a breakup, and you're not even gonna run it on a B or C level show, seems kind of suspect, and honestly, it seemed really unlucky. He feuded with Kofi in 2019 for the WWE Championship. You know, the "it should have been me" promo. After that, he hasn't really done anything of note. He's been the guy that WWE throws in when
and of
they
course,
need a safe
WWE as a
hand,
company
whether
is
it's a
not
thrown
reliable
together
about
tag
this,
team or
right?
random mid-card
Ruining
matches.
someone's whole
He
career,
seems like
but
their guy to
not
do
like
just
literally
that. He's
respecting
also
his
received a
storyline.
co-sign from The Rock, who at one point responded to an Instagram post that WWE put up.
Not
It
addressing
showed Dolph
everything.
Ziggler with the WWE title, and he said, quote, "I'd co-sign this decision 100. Talented dude, and always has had a spark in his presentations. He won the NXT Championship in 2022, which is so random, but I guess it makes sense with his career. It's a story of what if, and normally these are based on guys who fumble their careers, or guys who fail to find that same magic again, or people who get injured. But not in this case. In this case, the company had multiple opportunities to push him. They never gave the guy any consistency. And on multiple
maybe
occasions,
because he wasn't that popular with the
Your
audience?
markings for success were
Like, he
there
didn't,
from a
like,
young age.
they
The
always, like,
cash-in
look at
felt
the
like he had the
money
wrestling world at his
aspect.
fingertips. But right when he got on the cusp of something, WWE refused to allocate the time and effort into making him into something bigger. You can never say
but
never,
like when you
because you
think
don't
about
know
it, guys, like Ziggler, like he does have, like when it comes to his face and like his looks, like he's memorable. Okay, like we can remember him, and some of these outfits that he wore were cool. But who is Ziggler? What is Ziggler? Like literally no character, no personality that I can relate to. For me, he's just another wrestler, and maybe because I don't know a lot about him and I haven't seen him throughout his career. Does he have any gimmicks? Does he have any, what is his motive? You know, what is going on? Does he just want to win titles? Why? Like, we needed some storyline, you know, like how some people want to win the title because of their spouse, or they want to win the title to prove something. They want to win the title to shove it into the companies, you know, like literally there's always a reason. But with this guy, not really. And lately to make your father proud, you know, but like, I don't know, it's weird.
Someone will get hot and all of a sudden factor into the plans, because we've seen that again and again.
And
I
it's
think
not
a
his
lot
fault.
of you guys have watched enough wrestling that you just don't know when someone will become a fan favorite and they'll want to push that guy. However, in Ziggler's case, it's all about what you do with them afterwards. And in his case, The misses have been injury. The misses have been WWE just not trusting him. And it's so strange. He's had a successful career, yes. The dude's won a ton of titles. He's had his fair share of strong matches. And I genuinely believe he has the respect of a majority of wrestling fans. Just a constant workhorse who does whatever is asked of him. But in retrospect, you look at all the chances to make him into something and they didn't. But you guys let me know what went wrong for the guy. Do you think the guy should have been someone on the posters and on the marquee for the WWE? Was WWE right not to pull the trigger on him? Or was this just a bad judgment call by the company on multiple occasions? It's safe to say that Dolph Ziggler's career has been a roller coaster for sure, but I want to hear from you guys. Should he have been something more? And does he still have enough time to be something more?
Oh, of course.
As always, do take very good care of yourself. Peace.
You always have time to be something more. Like, he doesn't need so many years that are successful. He needs maybe 1-2 years to just earn that cash to live a happy rest of his life. And I feel like a lot of these wrestlers strive to have these like 1 year, 2 years, 3 years reign where they can really earn enough money and make a name for themselves so they can like in the future go and try new things that they are interested in trying. I feel like that's one of the main things a lot of wrestlers, not everyone, but a lot of wrestlers try to achieve and accomplish, because it's not easy to be a wrestler and putting your body through that for your whole life as a mid career is really hard. Like, you would rather go on top and give your 200% for like 2-3 years, cash in, you know, and then move on. At least that's how I would do it myself. Let me see what the comments are saying, actually. Dolph Ziggler is definitely one of the more sadder stories in wrestling history. Out of everyone who absolutely deserves everything, including the top spot and becoming a multi-time world champion, it was Dolph Ziggler. But with all the injuries he sadly experienced, so he has more injuries that I didn't hear in the video. And whenever he had chances to redeem himself, he was misbooked to death. And it truly sucks to see. He's a great seller, he's passionate for the business and can deliver classics, and what does he get? No proper pushes and more misbookings. It really is sad to see such a promising future legend turn to a glorified jobber for life. Aww. The Miz, Dolph Ziggler, and John Morrison are the underrated superstars that always needed appreciation. Not enough attention is ever given to Ziggler's spectacular in-ring work because he is good at selling. His selling is noteworthy because of how he is constantly booked to lose. But if you watch his real matches, you will immediately see why he deserves to be a champion. He was the guy that made me fall in love with wrestling when I was a kid, and I am still a massive fan today. I'm still waiting for that Kofi Mania-esque catharsis run. He really had it all. So people literally agree and they feel so sad about it. Guys, don't feel that sad about it. Like, Ziggler is a name. Like, I don't know if he's a multi-millionaire, but at least I would guess he's a millionaire. Like, what's his net worth? Let's see this. I know like that has nothing to do with the fact that there's a mosquito on my table. And I'm trying. Yes, I squished it. Look, it's dead. It's a dead mosquito. Listen, don't play with me, mosquitoes. I always have a notebook, a handy notebook next to me. Back to the video. I just want to see his net worth. Oh my god. Net worth 2023. 3 million. Okay. All right, that's not bad. Guys, I don't even own one. Okay, like I don't think a lot of us do own even close to 1 million. So it's fine. Don't feel sad. He had a career. He had it good. But that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. You never know. Things can turn around and things can get better for him if they figure out how to do it right and if he is willing to keep going and keep trying. But that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and see you tomorrow with a brand new one. Bye! Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.